Madam, you can start the class.
Okay. Good afternoon. So for today's session, we are talking about the basics of MS Office and the basic three softwares that we use in MS Office. Uh, so essentially, we'll start with the Microsoft Word. Word is a processing software which we use for creating documents like resumes, letters, essays, and reports. So we'll start with sharing a Word file first. So when we try to start opening a Word file, this is how the interface looks like. We see that there's an option for blank document. Also, there are certain templates which, if we want to create here, we can get more templates. We can also search for online templates which are, let's say, for business cards or flyers, letters, or any other thing, resumes. So there are existing templates we can search here as well. We will start with a basic blank document first to understand what are the different things that are there in a Word. First, we start with this segment of the file. So these are essentially the different tabs of our Word file, and each of this tab comes with this section. The sections are called ribbons. So here in the ribbon we have multiple options, and each of the options, so for example, if we look at the insert button, so we have certain options for pages, tables, illustrations, media. All these things together forms different groups. So within the ribbon we have uh, different groups which reflects the things that every tab does. Now in certain groups we see that for example in the fonts there's a bunch of things which are there, but the options that are there are so much which can't be uh, fitted exactly within the group which is visible here. So for example, if we go to layout, we can see that there is this option. However, in arrange, we do not see that option. So this option is called the launch option. Now here, for example, in font, if we go click this, it gives me options which are there itself here, which we can see here. Apart from that, we have certain advanced options which will give me the idea of what are the other things that we can do with this part. We can create certain effects, outlines. All these things can be created uh, once we select this. Once we select this, so in paragraph 10, we have certain options which is there apart from the options that we see here. So there are certain options, plus there are other options also. For example, if you want to hyphenate, if you want to do the wrapping of the text, all those things can be done from this launch buttons. Now, in the right, we see this scroll bar, which helps us to scroll down and up the Word file. We can also use these arrows to scroll down or scroll up. Mm, Here in the bottom, we see the zoom thing, wherein which is right now it is at 100%. We can zoom it up or down depending on how bigger we want it. Here we see some layouts. How do we, in a general condition, we are always there in the print layout so that we know how our document would uh, look like once we open the print layout. Uh, However, there are other layouts. For example, this is a web layout which helps us to create and if we want to publish things on a web, so how it will look like. Or we have a read layout, which essentially wherein we do not want to do any editing or anything. It helps us to understand how just to read. And apart from that, we have a focus layout. Now this focus layout helps blocks out everything, so we do not see any other tabs, any time and other things popping up. And to take out from that, we simply press the escape button from our keyboard, and it escapes out of the focus and gets back to the default print uh, layout. uh, there are two more things which are very important at this point, are these two rulers, which are one on the left hand side, which is the the vertical ruler, and on the top, which is the horizontal ruler. This ruler defines what are how things are displayed. Now, while we are doing this, uh, there are couple of more things. For example, there is this top part, which is the quick access toolbar, which if you want, we can have more things. So right now I have the automatic save, the save button, the undo, the redo. This is the undo button, this is the redo button. These are the ones which are, you know, right now on my quick access toolbar, but I can have more number of things. For example, if I click on new, I'll have the new button as well. So for now, I will not have that. So this is how the interface of the Word looks like. Now, let us open a Word file so that we can see. So I'll open one of the existing Word files that I have, and so that I can give you some. Uh, Sorry, just one moment. So this is a existing Word file that I have, and with this, let us see what are the things that we can have. So this is a chapter of book which gives which has a small introduction and some sections to it. Now we can see this entire thing in a multiple way. Firstly, we can read the entire document the way it is, but on the other hand, we can also go to the view section, and we have switch on the navigation part. Now the navigation part defines for how many pages that are there here. We can also sort certain things in the navigation page itself, and it can give me where are the things located in this page itself. Uh, Coming to how things are controlled over the an existing document. So once we make certain changes in the document, we can simply save it, right? With the save button here, or we can just go to here and go to the file and use save or save as. If you want to save with a different name, we can use the save as, making certain changes and other things. Uh, Otherwise, we can also switch on this auto save option, so wherein it gets saved in my OneDrive personal folder. Right now I've kept it off, but you can always have the auto save option on, and it can give you the version. You can also convert it into a PDF, so we can create it as a PDF, or we can save it as when we do as, we can save as Adobe PDF, so which will create a PDF file in this case. Uh, to change the different fonts, we can simply from the ribbon or the font group, we can take different fonts from here. So depend on what font size you want, you can change the font sizes. So like that, or we can use this, which will increase or decrease the font size. We can make it uppercase or lowercase. For right now, it is the entire thing is in uppercase. So we want, we can have the, so we use a different font because the entire thing in this case Algerian is a uppercase. So we can complete that entire thing in a lowercase, or like a sentence case where the first letter is an uppercase, or we can capitalize each word where every word will have a, the first letter of every word becomes uppercase. You can also highlight and erase the other things. Um, we can, it's right now in bold, so this button is switched on. If you switch it off, and it becomes you know in a regular style, italics or underlined. uh, this is for striking through. So, if, for example, if I'm reviewing something and I think that this doesn't make sense, then can strike through using this section. This is for powers, for the bottom and the higher powers. This gives this certain effects to the text that is there, or highlight the text, or for that matter change the color of the text. So it is, I can, right now it is in black, I can change it into other colors as well. So select the entire thing and we change the color. um, this next part of it is the paragraph grouping of the um, um, Word file, wherein right now it is in a justified section. Now, what is a justified section? So if I select this entire thing, the abstract part, you will see that this is the part which is highlighted, which means both the sides are equal. We can have it as a left indented thing, so that just the left side is indented and right goes as it goes. We can have it centered, like when poetries are written, or in the right indented as well. You can change the line spacing. Right now it is at 1.5 spacing. You can have it at 2, or for that matter spacing of 1. You can see as I'm changing this spacing keeps on changing. We can change the paragraphs, the highlighting of the entire paragraph as well. Like we did it for the font, we can do it for the entire paragraph. Um, if we, let's say, want to put certain pointers to it, so we can do this with pointers like this is for the pointers, the bullet points. This is when you want to number, you want to list out things as numbers, you can do that. And within numbers, let's say I want to have, so if I keep on entering, use the enter button in our system, in our keyboard, it will create a new number, and this will create a list of numbers. So within a number I can create specific numbers. So for example, if I use the tab button, this creates a inner list of these numbers. So this is how it will look like. So I'll come back to the original part. Now we can also create all these things. That right now the entire thing that we have is in our you know that is the entire, put it in the original format. And so right now we are, the entire styling is done in a normal styling. If I want, I can keep it as a heading, and the this as a body. So if I do that and then I go to the the navigation pane, it essentially shows me what are the headings. So this becomes a heading. Now again, if I make introduction as a heading, so I can keep on seeing what are the headings that comes in. So so on and so forth. The more number of headings I would create will start showing here as the headings. Now this headings itself creates a sort of link here. So so I can just make it smaller, collapse the entire thing, or see what is written here, and it creates a sort of hierarchy in the entire uh, segment of the document. Uh, Now, coming to the next part of the Word file, which is the page setups. Uh, for example, if I go to our layouts, this is where we create our entire page setup. So here we get this grouping of the page setup. We also have a launch button here. Now from here we can set the margins, wherein right now it is set at a normal margin of top, left, right, and bottom. Everywhere it is 1 inch. We can have a narrow margin. So normal printing, when we want to make something for a printing part, it has to be made in a normal margin. However, otherwise it is for when we want to use lesser pages, or when we want to make it very tight, we make it into a narrow margin. uh, Now there are multiple options. We can also customize this, and we can set sort of margin that we would want in all the places. Uh, this selects the orientation. Again, it is right now in a portrait format, as in the entire thing is in a vertical format. So if I zoom it out, you can see that the entire thing is in a vertical format. I can also change it and make it in the landscape format, which creates a horizontal format. Now, this gives the size of the paper. Now, in general, it is always set in a letter format, but you can, when we print it out, we generally have pages in A4 format, so we can convert it into A4, or depending on what are you using it for, if you want a A5 or a legal or whatever it is. Right now, again, we have it the entire thing in a single column. So whatever we are seeing, it's in a single column. But we must know, we have seen in magazines and other places where it is in a two-column thing. So if I select in the from the columns, if I select two columns, we get a file which gives this two-column format. We can make it three, and so on and so forth. Uh, this creates page breaks. So, for example, if my um, document itself has multiple sections, specifically when we write dissertations where there are multiple breaks, we use this format of page breaks. This create different sections, and we can start creating, different, essentially different page numbering system from the different sections. We can numberize the. Right now there are no numbers. We can have a continuous numbering process of the lines. So, or we can start at each page, start at each section. If you want to not have for certain paragraphs, we can do that also. Uh, we can also insert certain things within the document itself. So, for example, if I want to insert, go to the insert button, we can insert different things. So, starting with, if you want to insert a picture, we can select the device. If I want it from the device, I can select it from the device and find wherever it is, browse it and find it wherever it is, and or we can have stock images which are existing online images if there are some. So see, here are certain stock images. You can select one of the stock images to give a option wherein multiple options or a single option, whichever image that we want to create, we can take that image and we can simply insert it here. So once we do that, I get the image inserted in the document itself. Uh, right now it is giving me an option to format this image if I want. So I have got a new tab in the ribbon. Right before this, we did not have this, so which gives me the option to if I want to remove the background. So if I want to do that, it will remove the background. Uh, I can make certain corrections to the image, make it bright, soften, or other things. The colors can be changed, variation, or there are multiple things. I can create a border to this picture. I can create certain you know, impacts and other things. Going back to the insert button, We can also look for online pictures. We can select on online pictures, and now we can, on the basis of what are we looking for, we can search for this images. And for example, I'm looking for flowers. It is searching through the search engine Bing, and it is looking for, so right now it is a little slow, hence it's not coming up, but it will start loading up as soon as we select a image. So you can see if I'm selecting an image, it is giving me an option to insert. So because the internet is maybe a little slow, it's taking a little time to load the pictures. Um, we can also insert shapes, different shapes that are there. So we have, the lines and boxes and arrows or any other kind of shapes that is there. There are certain icons also which we can insert, which can help us. Uh, so in the yesterday's class, when we were talking about different shapes as a element of design, we're talking about abstract shapes. So in icons, essentially we get what we call as abstract shapes. We can also have certain 3D models. So again, these are existing images. You can have 3D models. For example, if I want something for animals, so you can simply take it, something from here, click it, and I can insert it. Um, there is an option, interesting option, which we call as Smart Act. Now, the Smart Act essentially is something which gives me an idea of, for example, I want to make a chart, I want to make this, so this is how this will look like. So let's say I want to make an hierarchy of lists. So I can do this. So this will give me the bigger list and the subheadings as well. Um, Something that I can also do is here is link something. So for example, I want to link another file to this existing file. So for example, in this, I want to link this PDF. So if I do that, this creates and then when I have this, I can, if I hover around this, the top of this thing, it will take me to the, I can just, you can see, it's asking me to click control and then click. So if I press the control, it is converted into a pointer button, and it is asking me to click so that I can go to that file. Um, I can also create a bookmark. Now, what is a bookmark? Bookmark is where we can have certain locations. So right now, because I do not have much of bookmarks, uh, you know, saved in the computer, I am not. It's not showing much, but you can create a bookmark, or I can. These are certain bookmarks which are essentially hidden, but I can create that as well. I can insert those bookmarks as well. Now the entire document can be proofread. Now how to be proofread? So here at the bottom, you can see there are certain options that are coming up. Now what are these options? Uh, First, we see the number of pages. You can see the total number of the words. You can follow my pointer at the bottom here. The total number of words. And then we have something which looks like, what are the how does it look. So if I click on it, uh, it gives me a section which on the right, which gives me proofreading section. It essentially gives me, so I have used certain terms. It is asking me that whether I want to change the term or I want to keep it the same. So it is giving me a proofreading for everything. If I want to ignore this or if I want to add this to dictionary, I can also do that. This is also gives a thesaurus. Now, what does that do? First, it gives you can set the language. So for this document, it is set at the US English. I can convert it to the UK English. There are certain spellings which are different in a UK English than in US English. That might just start highlighting in the reading the moment I convert it into UK English. Right now it is loading. So if you see the kilometers word in UK English, it is coming as an underline. The word fiber. So these are because these were set in a US English. These words are coming to view as a question that the spelling might be there. They're suggesting that the spelling might be wrong. There is also an accessibility thing. So we're asking that whether it is okay if there are certain issues. So it can give me those feedbacks. We can also go to the entire document and we can create certain themes. So if you look here on the if I go to the design tab in the ribbon, we see certain something like a theme. So it creates a specific type of document. So here we have the document create in a specific format. So the headings will be in a certain format. We can also change the themes based on what is the type that we want. So there are multiple options, there are formatting options. I can create it according to that. So it can change what sort of formatting I would want for my entire, you know, entire document. So this would create a consistency and it will not create a situation where, different parts are in different formats. We can use again go to the file and use this print part to print the document. So right now I'm connected to this printer. Uh, I can set how many pages I want to print. I can print the whole document, the current page, or custom print wherein I can specify the number of pages I want to print. I can print on one side, both sides, depending on which side we are printing. Um, we spoke about the PDF part already, and we can also share this. So we can share it through cloud or we can share it via email. So this will take me to my Outlook, or I can create the PDF and share the link of that PDF, or we can present it online. So um, with this we stop this part and we move on to the next part of the session, which is um, and using an Excel sheet. So let me just open up an Excel sheet and then I share that file. So again, when we open up the Excel sheet, when we try to find an Excel sheet, we get this option of a blank workbook. We also get some templates, so which is existing already there. We can select on more templates, and this essentially gives me a tutorial on what are the things, or if I want to create a chart, uh, or how is it being created. So when we talk about Excel, it is essentially something which is a spreadsheet software, and we use this for managing data and doing calculations. We use it for budgets. We do it is for tracking certain trends, some sort of data analysis. This is what our Excel is being used for. So if I if I take up any of this will essentially give me the idea that what I would like to create. Right now, I'll simply take a blank workbook. Let's find what are the things that we already know. So we know that this is the different tabs that is there, and this essentially gives me the every tab would give me the ribbon. So we have this home tab, insert, so something few things we have already seen in our Word files. We have seen the things that we are bunch of things that we have already seen in our home tab, like the font and the alignment, which was in the paragraph part. We also see new things here. We see the styles, the cells, editing. There are few things. We also see a formula tab, which is giving me a new set of ribbon. Now again, in this we also see this launch buttons, which is also there. Um, Now there are two things that we talk about, two terms that we talk about when we are using Excel. First is an workbook, and the second is a worksheet. So what is a workbook? An Excel file in its totality is called a workbook. These sheets that we see in the bottom, this is a worksheet. So this one sheet will be a worksheet. If I use the add button, I create sheet number 2 and this becomes a second worksheet. So a workbook can contain multiple worksheets. So essentially multiple worksheets is something that we can find from the bottom of the Excel file, and together all of them together would create the workbook. Uh, these things, this A, B, C, D that we have, each of this together creates the columns. Each of these are the different columns in the Excel file, and these ones, the 1, 2, 3, 4 that we have here, are the rows. So we have columns named as alphabets and rows named as numbers. And we have something called the formula box. So this is the formula box. Here I can set up some formulas. We'll talk about formulas in a bit. We can, write some formulas here, and this is the name box. This is where we can, identify which cell we are selecting on. So right now it is A2 means this is column A and row 2. You can select here, and what is this? This is C7. So it's column C and row 7. Now let me just open up um, a different Excel file so that I can show you certain functions of the. So I'm opening up a dummy sheet of Excel. So here it is a raw data sheet which essentially has certain numbers in it. Uh, Here we can, when we have so that we can see certain numbers, we can use certain ways to calculate these numbers. Now, let's say here we see the minimum, the maximum, and here we so we can add these numbers, or you know insert certain formulas to these numbers. So when we have multiple, so you can see it's a big sheet, and when we have to in, um, understand it certain numbers, that's how we create. So let me just take a new sheet, and let's say I type few things. So if I just type certain numbers to it, and now here are this as number, but if I go to the format cells, it can if you can see what does it signify. Right now it's a general. If I convert it into a number, and it might have two decimal places, so it will be 2.00, or it may have a single decimal space. And if I create OK, this becomes numbers and it will create a sort of decimal places. I'll go back to this. Let us see, we can create it as a currency. We can decide what currency we want. We can also have it as an Indian currency of rupiah, or the different currencies that are there. Uh, it can also be a date, by the way. So, for example, if I select as a date, it is creating as 1900s because there is no other thing that they are understanding. But for example, if I convert it into today's date, which is 24/10/2025, we will create a section, and I can create it and it will create different years in that case of multiple years. The same date, it will create a chain of that. It can also be a time or a percentage, or for that matter, it can simply be a text. Right now, let's convert it back to this one. Okay, stop sharing. Well, let's convert it to a general number, and again, let us write some numbers to it. Let's also take this and use this formula bars that is there. So here we have some formula bars, we have some numbers. We can use this to calculate the sum. If this is the total sum of the numbers that is there, or I can also select this and we can calculate the average of all these numbers, or count the numbers, or identify what is the maximum or minimum number that is there in this list of numbers. I can also do something. I can just select the numbers and it will give me what is the average here in the bottom. You can see what is the average, the count, and sum. You can just visually you can see what are the different things that is there. Now, let me just again go back here. So here in this itself, we can also format this number. So in this entire chain, so see there's a multiple numbers. Let us take this column. So here we can do a conditional formatting. So we can do a highlighting of cell rules on the basis of whatever that is there. So for example, I highlighted if it is greater than 8. So we will highlight it. For example, I can change this. I can make it, let's say it's greater than, it's greater than 7. If yeah, it's greater than 8, then it becomes, it's highlighted. The 7, the ones which are 7, it's not highlighted. Only the 9s are highlighted. I can also design if something is between or something, if there are duplicate values. So if I select this, everything would, become, because there are essentially duplicate values. Uh, we can also see what are the, so for example, if I want to score, so you can see we got the top 10 or the bottom 10. So these are also can be seen through this. Now, whenever we are doing the, so for example, here we are calculating the minimum and the maximum. So because we are calculating the minimum and the maximum, you see in the formula bar, here we can see that this is what is shown here, the formula of how to calculate minimum or maximum. Or for matter, here we have the geometric mean. Here we have the average. So average of these three. How is this calculated? This entire thing is being shown here. Now within the cells also we can uh, take this together. So for example, the same thing, uh, the same number, if I want to take it here, I simply have to, use the equal to button and we select here and I get this number here. And when we select here, we select this cell, you will see in the formula bar, it is showing that go to sheet number 1 and take up E7. So see, this was E and 7. So this is how they would pick up this number. So this is how we can also travel between sheets and decide which one to take and how to pick up. We can also sort according to the column values. For example, if this is the entire you know, uh, number, we can also sort this. We can take the entire you know range and we can sort it according to how we want it to. So we go to the sorting filter and we can sort from smallest to largest. So let us just take this 2 so that it doesn't just sort the numbers but it can sort according to this also. So we select this and we sort A to Z and it or we sorry, we go to custom sort first and we sort according to column, the minimum column, and it is creating minimum ones upper and the higher ones, maximum ones on the, so it's in the lowest to highest form. This is how they are sorting. I want to sort it according to alphabet. I can also do that for the first one. So you can see it is on the basis of the alphabetical order it has sorted. We can also use this to narrow down our data using the filter. So how do we do that? So let me just go back to its original part. I can also use select a part and we insert a filter tag to it. So here we can just select what are the things that I want to pick up and I can just simply pick up only those things. So I just select all and just I want to do the water consumption. It shows me what the water consumption rate is. So essentially it's also help to you know narrow it down. You can also create certain graphs using this entire technique. So for example, if I select this first two rows, first two columns of the the descriptions and the values and I want to insert a graph to it. For example, I want to insert a bar chart to it. So this is how the bar chart would look like. Or I can also change the you know chart type and convert it into a different type of chart. So we can have different styles of charts here. So you can see there are different types. Or I can simply again select this and convert it into a different type of charts like a line chart. You can see how the values goes and ups and downs. And if I select it, I can again you can see I can make it different according to the type of chart that we would want. We can, like we did for our Word file, we can convert for Excel file, we can save it from here, we can convert it into a PDF, or we can print it and convert in whichever way we want the. So we want the landscape orientation wherein we can take note, we can make the entire, the printing scaling up, you know. So we want to, so right now it's no scan, it's to be printed at actual size. We can also, try to print the entire thing in a single sheet. So I would ask to fit it sheet in one page so that or all the columns in one page so that we can see all the columns and we can see how it would look like. So yeah, that completes the Excel part of the um, session. Because now we can also have something for PowerPoint. The third thing that is very important is the Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, why PowerPoints are used? PowerPoints are essentially used when we are, using the software for visual storytelling. It is used for meetings. Again, when we use for in classes when I teach for education, uh, or in marketing also. So whenever we want to visually explain certain things, we use the PowerPoint. So now let us just open up a PowerPoint presentation so that I can share. One moment. So again in PowerPoint, when you open up, you get this option of a blank presentation, or we can put a theme. So like we have templates for others, here we have themes, and we can just select one of the themes from here, and so these themes can be based on different types. You can search your themes online as well. So let me just go back to a new presentation and create just a blank presentation for now. Now, in the PowerPoint presentation that is here, what are the things that we note? The first one is here we have a side pane. So this is where our slides come down. So this is called the side pane. Here we have a note section. So this is, so for example, if I want to write something on the slide but I want details, we can have notes here at the bottom. Apart from that, we also have the ribbon, which was on in the top, like we had uh, for the Word file. So here we have the similar things that we had. Apart from that, we have some extra things like transitions or animations that are there. Now for the views, here we have the views. We gently have it at the the reading the set view that is there. But here in the bottom, you can see there is the slideshow view. So if I click on this, this creates a slideshow panel, and it's going to takes the full screen. I can just make the notes pop up or pop down also from here. You can also have a slide sort of view, so I can just, if I have written some things I want to take some on front, on back, we can also do that from the slide sort of view. Um, Now just let us take some design. For example, I cut this as a design, and it can, now on the basis of this I can create certain layouts. So we can have the title slide, which would have a title and some subscription. Here we have the other slide. So in the new slide itself, we have different layouts, if you see. So we can have title and content, a section header. We can also have comparison, or something which is a blank slide. Or if you want a picture with caption, we can also use that. Uh, Now, whenever we are writing things on a slide, it's very similar to how we use. our work. So we can just, use the bullet points, specifically where we're writing things. We can just simply use the bullet points and begin. Um, and you can copy or paste from anywhere. You can insert, sorry, you can insert images again similarly like we did. So we can insert stock images, or we can insert online images, and anything can create uh, a easy transition between different uh, parts. A very interesting thing about presentations is specifically when take insert. You can insert different. For example, if I want to insert, I can insert different links to this. So for example, if I go, I can just add a link to. So for example, if I just link this file here, and when I would click on, when it is in a full screen mode, and I will click on this file, it will interestingly just simply open up this file, and I do not have to have all the data here. I can just simply click this file here, and it will take me to that file. So in a way, it is essentially a very easy way to collaborate between different MS Office softwares that are there. Yeah, so with this, we end this session. If there is any query from my side, or we can end the session. Okay, thank you in that case.